What up? I have been taking time to actually slow down and enjoy this time that I have right now. Uh, I'm not going to get far into it, but I spent a lot of time working two jobs, doing everything I can to make sure that I could get by, but not taking leaps of faith that I probably should have. I eventually made a leap of faith to do my beard business. I started pushing buttons because I needed to get away from the job that I was at. Um, but I'm gonna tell a story here. I'm gonna talk about some things and talk about my experience where I'm at, and it's gonna be heartfelt. So bear with me here. I have some major cleaning to do. I have some gym time to go, and I kind of want to go get a coffee and just kind of reflect. Today is a day of reflection for me, and I have an interview with a very good opportunity tomorrow, and I'm just reflecting and trying to pass my message on. So religion and spirituality are something that I have spoke about a lot lately, more and more each day. I grew up around religion. I went to church with my grandparents. I went to church with multiple different, very, very close friends growing up. I was around very loving families, even with the disproportion and the dysfunction of my own family. There was love, there was all the effort and everything that my mother and my father tried to give to me, but there was dysfunction. Holidays sucked. To this day, I try to have the most positive outlook to holidays and just every day that I can. I'm very positive as is. Probably one of the most optimistic people in my family. All I ever told my mother, my father, my siblings, you're all negative. I can't be around you. You poison my mind. You poison my energy. Um, but I still tried to be around the best that I could, and I could see that out of anybody, my mother tried to be more positive in her final years because she knew that she needed to. But my parents did everything they could. They weren't perfect people. None of us are. They weren't the greatest to each other, but they gave me lessons. They taught me things, and they helped shape me into a good portion of the man that I am. They gave me the blueprint, and I built off of it. Through my experience, I became the man that I am, and I just try to do my best to be the best that I can be, especially for my son every day. And thinking about my parents there, it choked me up. But anywho, I went to church a lot. Wednesdays, Sundays, lots of events with, especially as I got older into middle school, junior high, high school. My parents fell away from religion more, and we can very easily be a product of our surroundings. My parents were still religious, but they didn't go to church. They stopped going to church. My grandmother, who took us to church very often, my dad's mother, she had passed away from cancer when I was 15. So that side of religion fell out. Families fell apart. Our dysfunction and our family being fed up with some of the dysfunction around other parts of our family, we just kind of started keeping to ourselves, which in turn led to the mindset of we work, and we come home and we provide, which is not a bad mindset, but you still have to have family, you still have to have good people around you. And I'm realizing that a lot more and more each day. But uh, some major things pushed me away from religion in school when I was still in high school. My best friend, who lived a couple blocks away from me. He had the mindset. He was very religious. His family, his parents were very religious, and I loved that family. Both of these best friends growing up were within um, a mile of my house. So I was with one of them often, and anytime I was with them or spending the night, if it was, a Tuesday overnight or a Saturday overnight, or if I was staying over multiple nights, like if church was going to happen, like they were always going to church. They always went. Just like I always want to go to the gym, they always went to church. Um, but that friend, as he got older, he got into junior high and he started dipping. And everybody in that friend group played football and I played soccer, so I was an outsider. I didn't do drugs. I didn't start chewing tobacco or smoking like they did. I just became an outsider. I didn't do shop class, and all of them did. I took other classes, and a divide happened. And then it became, while I was at church or around that best friend, topics of hate continued to happen. Was it Wayside Temple or whatever in Castelia? Some of the topics they talked about very negative, very hateful, and what they've always said is if you preach hate in a sermon, those words are anointed. I mean, that's out there. But my best friend had this stance of God hates gays, and if you're gay, you're wrong, and that whole ordeal. And I just never felt right about it. It didn't feel good to me. I never read the Bible. I've read portions, but I've never read the Bible from cover to cover. Um, but it never felt right to me to make that claim, and it never felt right to me to judge somebody else based on their preferences or how they wanted to live their life. Who am I to judge somebody on how they're living their life if it doesn't actually have a direct effect to me? Just because it goes against everything that was normal. Um, so that friend and we grew apart. I had major issues with that. Um, but with that happening and some of the different very, very Christian or religious people that I was around, they were all preaching hate and judgment. And that hate and judgment pushed me away from religion. It made me turn my back on it. It made me turn my back on God. I went as far as making fun of religion. I say Sky Daddy all the time. Now it's more of a joke than actual being serious. It's just being comedic, but it's not, he knows where I'm at. He knows what I feel and what I say. He knows what it is. But I turned my back on God. But he wasn't the one that I should turn my back on. He wasn't the one that was saying or doing those things. The people who were saying that were the ones that were speaking corruption, that were speaking hate. And all those years, I was saying that I had faith, but I couldn't worship or give my life or spend every day obsessing or worshiping something that I couldn't tangibly see or feel. And I have a different feeling on that now. And when I look back at it, I didn't have faith. I had faith in myself. I believed in myself. I always have, but I didn't have faith in general. It was almost like in the last 10, 15 years, the hate that people would have towards Nickelback was a meme. It was a thing to hop on as popularity. It's like, having Black Lives Matter or different things of that nature, that it's going through the internet, and people who are outside of that, you're just posting and being a part of it rather than actually making a difference. Um, so I turned my back on faith. I turned my back on God. I turned my back on something special. And every day now I grow a little closer. And I heard it recently when I was watching part one and part two of the George Janko show with Andrew Tate on it. George Janko I discovered through Impulsive with Logan Paul, and I really like George, and he got Andrew Tate on his podcast, and they did a very good two-part series. I'm hoping more will be coming, but they mentioned in part two, how many times should you forgive somebody? How many times should we be forgiven? We all sin, but there's a difference between sinning and asking for forgiveness genuinely, even if you repeat that sin. But you genuinely feel wrong about it. Or you're doing it and you just say, man, I'm sorry, I messed up. But there's no feeling. Now, some of us have no place to judge or to assume that, but obviously the higher power can. In no means am I gonna, go straight Bible thumper here, but I've been opening myself up to something that, and I'll get into further as we go down the line here, but I've been opening myself back up to something I turned my back on, which led to years of struggle and years of unhappiness and years of unfulfillment. So Peter asked Jesus, "How many times should I forgive my brother?" If I'm paraphrasing that properly, and Jesus said, not 7 times, but 77 times, and basically saying that people deserve forgiveness, people deserve second chances, and who am I to judge that person? He can judge that. Sometimes you do have to push away people who are directly hurting you or affecting you if they're not in line with with the direction and the goals you're working towards. I try to surround myself with 5 of the best people that I can, and I will speak out and tell them, like, hey, you're being extremely negative. Hey, you no longer train or work out. You don't do these things, and these are things that I believe that make us stronger people, but you're going against all that. You are having a weak mind or a negative mind, and you don't want to go out and work for it. I'm not here to judge anybody. I've never been a judgmental person, but I allowed the judgmental people around me to allow me and push me to turn my back on something special. Um, I'm here to have hope. I'm here to give hope. I've been in a battle for years. I've been led down the wrong path. I've led myself down the wrong path. I've been guided down the wrong path. And I'm thankful I never got into drugs or any addictions that could have taken me from this world. The addictions that I had were caffeine, working out, bowling, and expressing myself, music, expressing myself verbally, things of that nature. Um, but I found myself for the first time in the best way possible when I found my son, a symbol to give everything I ever needed, to give back. I quit soda. I quit energy drinks. Why? Something that I drank all day, every day for years. That's because I needed to prove to myself as a man that I didn't need that substance. My needs aren't bigger, they aren't larger than the big picture. My needs aren't bigger than what, the higher power has in store. So I challenge myself to cold turkey those things that I still have. Every day I want soda more and more as I go forward, but I refuse to do it. I have Celsius on occasion. I have iced caffeinated plus or ice sparkling water or different sparkling waters that are not as bad for you. Um, but my needs aren't bigger than what the higher power has in store for me, and my needs aren't bigger than the beautiful boy that I helped bring into this world. I live to serve now, and I don't live to search for happiness. I live to search to be useful, to bring hope, to give hope, to bring joy. I live to have purpose and to give my life to him and to give my life to my son. Anything outside of that takes a back seat. Listen, be yourself. You are good enough. You can manifest whatever you want, but it's not going to come easy because anything worth having doesn't come easy. We make mistakes. We are tested, but we are tested because we are deserving. And I spent years of struggle battling myself inside to realize that I had turned my back on something that maybe I truly did need. And that's why I continued to fall short, because I said I had it and I would do it myself, that I was bigger than everything else. And then I realized that I wasn't, that I needed to open myself back up. And that's what I've done. My goal each day is to be useful, to have hope, to give hope, and to have deep, thought provoking conversations, whether it's a like minded individual or somebody who is completely different. But to bring conversation and opinions and thoughts to the table, have open forums, and find a common ground without hate, without forcing it. Just bring it to the table, and if they take it into consideration, they do. If they don't, they don't. But I know what I did, and I know what I'm here for. So I have an interview tomorrow for a very good opportunity, and the beard oils are selling. Uh, it's going to be a grind, and it's something that I'm not going to give up on. As many times as I wanted to give up on something in the last week, to just quit, I take that thought and I put it to the side, and I say, you need to think about this. Are you going to regret it? Is this what you actually want to do? So we're back to grinding in the gym. We're back to giving ourselves to a higher power. We're back to serving and to give the best that I can give to make sure that I am giving my son everything that I may have missed. That my son doesn't have to grow up in the dysfunction and the open contradiction. I make the decisions that I make because I want my son to see them and know that this is the right way. That you are bigger than that situation, that you are better than what you are around, that you surround yourself with good people. And if somebody's being a dickhead or being purposefully wrong to other people, to hurt people, or to take advantage or sabotage, that you confront that person, and then if they do not change, you remove that cancer. I make the decisions that I make so that my son knows those rights and those wrongs, that you don't allow people to treat you poorly, that you do not stay in a situation where you're being taken advantage of, that you don't stay in a relationship that is not equal. If needs are not being met, that you have that conversation and that you put your foot down, and if it doesn't change, you walk away from it. You don't stay in it. You have self-respect, and you don't allow people to disrespect you. You talk about it, you confront it, and if it doesn't change, you remove it. And those are the things that I want to teach my son. He is a beautiful ball of joy. He is all of the happiness and joy that I could ever imagine, and I will protect that with my life. And I make the decisions, and I'm doing the things that I am doing to provide for him, because I live to serve for the higher power, and I live to serve for that little boy. And anything outside of that doesn't matter. So this is just me recording a video to talk about it. If you've come this far, like, subscribe, reach out to me. Let's have some conversations. I hope this makes a difference in at least one person's day, one person's life. Maybe bring somebody back where I am heading. And if you're still here watching this, I just want to say thank you. Don't forget to tell somebody you love them. Give people their roses, give people their flowers. And just remember that we don't need to chase for validation. We need to validate ourselves. We need to believe in ourselves, and that's by hard work, perseverance, and the results. About 6 days away from Christmas, guys. I hope everybody's super well and very safe, and I love you all. Thank you so much.